Boa tarde, tudo bom? Sexta tarde, hora da palestra. Mas antes da gente iniciar a modalidade palestra, a gente vai ter a apresentação da nossa querida Sarah Neder, que vai mostrar o púlpito dela. Ela iria apresentar de manhã, mas por alguns problemas ela não conseguiu fazer a apresentação dela de manhã, tá bom? Então a gente vai começar as atividades dessa sexta tarde com nossa querida Sarah Neder.
Hi, teacher.
Bom, Sarinha?
Hi.
Conta um pouquinho pra gente como é que foi fazer esse púlpito.
Eu gostei muito, porque além de eu aprender, fazendo minha fala, eu desenvolver meu português, eu aprendi, com a minha fala, eu aprendi várias coisas novas. Então, para mim, isso é muito bom. Estudando, a gente aprende mais e fazendo as coisas que a gente gosta, porque eu adoro escrever, adoro aprender novas coisas. Então, eu gostei muito de fazer isso.
Que bom, fico muito feliz. Então, vou deixar você sozinha na tela para fazer sua apresentação. Bom? Break a
Ok.
leg, my love.
Oi, boa tarde. Meu nome é Sara e hoje eu vim fazer uma breve introdução sobre a educação durante a pandemia do Covid-19. Bom, a educação mudou muito, pois o meio de ensino agora é online, assim fazendo com que muitas crianças não se possibilitem de participar das aulas, pois muitas delas não têm internet adequada em casa ou até mesmo um computador para realizamento das aulas. Antes, quando elas eram presenciais, os alunos poderiam tirar suas dúvidas de um modo mais fácil, e atualmente muitos não têm materiais que os possibilitem de realizar isso, fazendo com que as crianças não desenvolvam de forma educacional. Muitas pessoas acham, e eu concordo, que o ensino tem sido muito diferente, pois agora os alunos não prestam atenção em aulas, deixam as câmeras desligadas, microfones desligados e nem interagem no chat. E, na minha opinião, a escola, além de escuta, está tentando aprimorar ainda mais no ensino. Por exemplo, com essas atividades extras que eles nos oferecem, eu consigo melhorar meu português e refletir um pouco sobre esse assunto, educação. Escrever isso me serviu de aprendizado e espero que tenha servido para todos.
Muito bom, Sarinha. Parabéns. Obrigado pela sua participação, tá bom? E continue com o bom trabalho. Um beijo. Pessoal, o responsável por essa atividade é o professor Reagan, né? O responsável pela atividade palestra, que a gente apresentou na segunda-feira, né? A primeira leva, e vai apresentar a segunda leva agora. O professor Reagan está com um pequeno problema de conexão e já vai participar aqui da live com a gente, mas eu irei iniciar as apresentações, então, com a aluna Morena, do sexto ano.
Hello.
Olá, Morena. Tudo bom? Morena, conta um pouquinho para a gente como foi fazer essa atividade da palestra.
Foi bem legal, foi interessante, é um novo tipo de texto, eu acho, que a gente nunca tinha experimentado, eu gostei bastante.
Que maravilha. Moreninha, eu vou botar você com a sua apresentação, tá? E você me avisa a hora que for para ir passando os slides, tá bom?
Hi, my name is Marina Ferraz Meireles, and I am a student of Land School. So, next, please. You can next too. Okay. So the pandemic of COVID-19 brought a different routine for everybody, especially in education, that it was necessary to increment online classes for the majority of the schools, but now some schools are reopening in other countries. But what about Brazil? Schools are reopening. Next, please. Okay. What is the pandemic of COVID-19? This pandemic is happening right now because of a new virus called COVID-19. This virus was born last year in China that affected the whole world and still outside, and many people needed to stay at home until scientists know more about it and know how to prevent ourselves. When people were when people were staying at home, students needed to study online. But now that things are getting better, some schools are reopening. Next. Okay. Countries like Australia already came with the reopening of the schools, and they are dealing well with all the cares, of course, but Brazil is starting to get prepared to reopen the schools. According to the site G1, Rio de Janeiro reopened the schools this Monday, but some places there, like Aperibé, Araruama, Armação dos Búzios, Barra Mansa, Cabo Frio, and others refused and didn't reopen the schools. But in São Paulo, the government authorized the reopening of the schools. In Bahia, the government said that they will only reopen the schools when the number of deaths decrease. But some schools of Salvador, such as Vila Campos de Educação, Land School, and Gurilândia, are getting prepared to reopen when the government authorizes. Next. Okay, you can let this one. But how will schools get prepared? Well, schools will need to apply strict sanitation protocol, cleaning every place of the school, apply alcohol dispensers to clean students, teachers, and employees' hands, use a temperature meter to see if nobody is with symptoms of COVID-19 or other disease, and apply the use of face masks for everybody and others. Comparing Brazil's situation with Australia, as I mentioned, that already reopened the schools, it controlled the situation in the country, and then we started reopening restaurants, gyms, malls, beaches, and they opened the schools. So Brazil we need to control more the situation to reopen the schools. Next, please. Conclusion. Brazil will get some time to control the virus and reopen all the schools. But from little to little, we will get back to a normal routine and maybe help other countries to control the situation there too. Yeah, and it's that. But it has the references in the next slide. So this was the references I picked of all the informations that I picked. So these are the references. And that's bye. Your microphone is off.
Thank you again. Thank you, Morena. Your presentation was amazing. I love it. A job well
Thank
done.
you.
Nossa próxima aluna também é do 6º ano e é a aluna Catarina. Deixa eu chamar Catarina aqui para falar com a gente.
Hi, Mr. Felipe.
Tudo bom, Cata?
Tudo.
Como é que foi essa experiência para você?
Para mim, essa experiência foi uma experiência nova, assim, sabe? Uma coisa que, para mim, foi difícil fazer esses slides tudo. Não só porque, tipo, é uma coisa que eu nunca tinha feito antes, mas também porque a coisa em si, para mim, foi um pouco difícil. E, tipo, sei lá, quando a gente tenta coisas novas, nem sempre é tudo 100% fácil. Mas, no fim, eu achei bem legal essa experiência. Achei que valeu bastante a pena.
Que ótimo! Então, a mesma coisa que eu falei para Morena, quando você quiser que eu mude os seus slides, você me avisa, tá bom?
Ok. How have children and adolescents reacted to the COVID-19 pandemic? Pass the slides, please. So here the outline of my slides, the thing that will be in them, like the division of the things, and you can pass, please. So first of all, I would like to say that in my slides, it will contain the opinion of my opinion and the opinion of some friends of mine. As I said, the topic is about children and adolescents, and I am a child, and I am having online classes in the pandemic. So here in the slides, I will use a lot of information that I see in my daily life, and I can't put everyone's opinion in this, but I think that in the general is like this. So everyone knows what is the COVID-19 pandemic. It's something that has faced us and is putting us in self-isolation in our homes. And some schools are dealing with this by doing the new method that is online classes. The objective of this slide is only to learn, is not to criticize nothing or no one. It's just to say how is being the reality. And there will be good things and bad things about what is happening in this COVID-19 pandemic with the online classes and the reaction of children and adolescents by this. You can pass, please. Okay, so my theory is that both children and adolescents are having serious issues because of the quarantine, especially children. This thing of self-isolation is being a bad and at the same time good thing for them. Before I say the pros and cons of quarantine, I would like to say a curiosity. Here in Brazil, 88% of the population was already in quarantine by April. It's been a bad thing because people miss their friends and family, except for the family that is isolated with them. But on the other hand, coexistence with the family has been a big issue that is good for children and adolescents' mental health and at the same time bad, because when you spend a lot of time with the same people and you can't get out, there are some arguments and heated discussions which may influence the kid or adolescent in his or her aggressive part. Also because of the new way to learn, the online classes that I will talk about in the next slide. You can pass, please. So, as I said, now I'm going to talk about the new online classes. The online classes are new to everyone. Some children and adolescents still haven't had any classes or are adapting to them. Online classes are not only bad for the students, but also for the school itself. Private schools and colleges, mainly in the cities, have been conducting online classes which last up to 5 hours a day. Schools say that they have no other option but to teach through video conferencing until the spread of COVID-19 subsides and it's safe to resume classes. As they are online classes, students can research the answers and get distracted with other online stuff in the middle of the classes. And of course, we have the health problems that we are dealing with, such as back problems because of the position we adapt in front of the computer, and of course, the problem in our eyes that originates exactly from the long exposure to the screen when we spend all day in front of the computer. Our eyes get tired after looking at the screen for hours, but of course, there are good things in it, such as the new apps we can use to help in our studies, this thing of having a new method of learning, and the fact that we are having the opportunity to study during this quarantine, and it's not everyone that can have this. You can pass, please. So, finally, we got to our conclusions. In my opinion, the pandemic itself is horrible. It is so bad, but quarantine is not 100% bad, of course. Some of the bad things in online classes are less direct contact, time commitment, limited social interactions, and others. There are a lot of bad things that we are suffering, especially with the online classes and everything. But there are also good things, because now we can learn to value what we had, and also because at school there are a lot of social problems, and it's good to get a time off from this for a while at least. And also because you can stay safe with your family at home. So, this was my lecture. I hope you have learned and reflected about things with it. Thank you very much. But before I end this, I would like you to pass to the next slide, please, Mr. Felipe. So, I would like to say here that to make this lecture, I used my own experiences as a child in the pandemic, and I also had the help of these sites. That's it.
Great job, Kata. Muito obrigado. Excelente trabalho.
Obrigada.
Continue sempre com essa atitude e esse trabalho. Obrigado.
Obrigada.
Pessoal, agora finalmente os problemas técnicos foram resolvidos e vou convidar aqui a presença do meu amigo Mr. Rager. Hi, dude.
Hello, everybody. Hey, man. I was just telling the students that Murphy's Law hit me with his best shot. First the computer, I got the computer running, then the internet was next. We'll see. I'm really sorry I couldn't watch Morena and Katarina. I had already read their material. I'm really happy they did it in English. And like I said before, it's basically their work. My job here is to take a look at what they're doing, just give them feedback, do this, do that. But I'm sure I'll be able to watch it when the school posts the videos on the YouTube channel. Remember, all these videos are available on YouTube, the YouTube channel of the school. Land School right now has available for you all the events that have taken place in the Land Talk so far. So, Felipe, we're going to the next one right away.
Yes.
All right.
I want to introduce the next student. I'll leave the screen and I'll add the new student. Who's the next one?
Gabriel.
Gabriel. Okay, so let me call Gabriel.
Let me tell you a little bit about what Gabriel Lima is going to talk about. And obviously, the first two students that I didn't introduce properly, Morena was talking about how education has been affected by the pandemic, and Katarina was talking about how children and adolescents have been affected by the pandemic. Remember that the whole Land Talks event had 5 strands in which students had to develop their modalities. In the case of Gabriel, is the first one that we have, the first lecture that we have, in which the student is going to talk about how the environment has been affected or benefit. This is a little bit what Gabriel is going to talk to us about. Can we say that the COVID-19 pandemic has been negative for humanity, but somehow positive for nature, for the environment? Gabriel is going to be dealing with these issues in his lecture. He made a fantastic research. He's going to be doing it in Portuguese. Remember that Land School is multilingual, and we offer students the possibility to do in any language they would like to do it. Is Gabriel there, Felipe? Because I just see a black screen, or is it my computer?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I cannot see you.
Yeah, my camera is on, but I can see me.
Can you see yourself? That
No,
may be my
only
computer.
a black image.
I'll remove and put him again to see if it makes any difference. Let me see.
Go ahead. I don't know, something's really going on. It's Friday and the computer knows it. It's going to be free for the weekend. But anyway, Gabriel, I was saying.
No, I'm still black image.
Guys, I really don't know what is happening, because I can see in the studio, I see his face. I can see his white shirt and all this. But when I put him in stream, I don't know. Let me try again.
He is backstage. Well, remember, this is part of doing transmissions, this live broadcast, live streaming. It's something that LAN is also pioneering this year. Last year, we had debates and we had hardness, a couple of events that we organized last year. And there were, I can see the slides.
Like, can I leave and come back?
Maybe that's what we usually do in the classroom when we have issues. Leave the meet and then come back. It may work. We have been learning a lot about this working online. At the end of a year, when you ask yourself, how much did I learn regarding school content? Well, you learned a lot. But how much did I learn about the use of internet, applications, online broadcast, research? You learned, I would say, tons of information that last year we didn't have.
Oh my God, what
And something's going on with you now. It's Murphy's Day.
Gabe, I'll put your presentation and you talk,
Okay,
and then we try again in the end to see if we can see your face, my
Okay.
friend.
All right. The good thing, Gabriel, is you won't get nervous. People won't look at you. So go ahead.
Hi. Olá, meu nome é Gabriel e como todos sabem, não estamos passando por um momento fácil. Não podemos fazer muitas coisas que gostamos, tivemos que nos adaptar a coisas novas, como usar máscaras, videoconferências e a manter a higiene todo o tempo, como a lavagem das mãos, álcool em gel e a higienização dos alimentos, pois estamos enfrentando uma pandemia, a do coronavírus, também chamada de Covid-19. Pode passar. Essa pandemia pode não ter tido bons resultados em algumas coisas, como educação, eventos, restaurantes e outros. Ao mesmo tempo, acredito que vocês tenham visto muitas reportagens sobre as queimadas no Pantanal. Porém, o que acontece é que, devido às ações do homem no passado, como o aquecimento global, o aumento da temperatura na Terra é real. E como nessa época o tempo no Pantanal é seco, aumenta a chance de queimadas. Pode passar. Pode passar também. Mas hoje não vim falar sobre coisas ruins, pois foi o que mais ouviram. Por isso o tema de hoje é efeitos da pandemia para o meio ambiente, pois para algumas áreas do meio ambiente foi diferente. Florestas recuperaram algumas áreas desmatadas, rios e mares mais limpos, diminuição da poluição atmosférica e muitos outros benefícios. Pode passar. Isso, aí. Depois de 80 anos, a fauna e a flora do nosso planeta conseguiu se recuperar um pouco. Isso durante uma pandemia onde o homem reduziu seus impactos ambientais por causa do distanciamento social e o risco de pegar um vírus letal. Segundo o Brasil Escola, impacto ambiental trata-se de alterações no meio ambiente causadas pelas atividades humanas, que podem ser negativas ou positivas. Ou seja, o impacto ambiental é qualquer alteração nas partes químicas, biológicas e físicas do meio ambiente, feita por uma atividade do homem, na maioria das vezes causando algo negativo, como o desmatamento, a poluição, uso irregular de recursos naturais e produção constante de lixo. E agora, isso se reduziu. Devido à quarentena, a diminuição de carros na rua é visível. Os carros são grandes emissores de dióxido de carbono. Um exemplo é da cidade de São Paulo. Cerca de 7 milhões de carros trafegam nas ruas, todos os dias. De acordo com a Companhia de Engenharia de Tráfego, CET, um carro popular emite cerca de 150 gramas de dióxido de carbono. Se esses 7 milhões de carros transmitissem essa quantidade, teríamos 1 tonelada de dióxido de carbono emitido à atmosfera. Mas na quarentena, a quantidade de veículos na rua diminui para 20% desse valor, sendo emitidos 210 quilos. Outra notícia muito boa é que uma organização não governamental, uma ONG, nessa pandemia, chamada Copaíba, planta árvores para compensar a quantidade de dióxido de carbono emitido por nós. Caso você queira contribuir com a ONG, entre no site treenation.com. Lá você pode comprar mudas de árvores nativas da Mata Atlântica que serão plantadas pela ONG Copaíba. Pode passar. Outro benefício é que alguns animais começaram a aparecer por causa da pouca quantidade de pessoas nos lugares. Onças pardas, coiotes e perus nos Estados Unidos, javalis na Espanha, leopardos em vários locais da Índia, cervos no Japão. No Brasil, as tartarugas fizeram mais de 425 ninhos, sendo um aumento de 117% em comparação ao ano passado. E é muito importante preservar o meio ambiente, que é o habitat dos animais, pois caso destruirmos eles, podemos enfrentar mais pandemias. A que estamos enfrentando é um exemplo dessas. Quando destruímos o habitat de outras espécies, facilitamos o contato de animais com humanos, que podem nos causar doenças chamadas de doenças zoonoses. Segundo a UFPEL, Universidade Federal de Pelotas, uma doença zoonose é uma doença infecciosa capaz de ser naturalmente transmitida entre outros animais e seres humanos. Uma coisa que gostaria que todos aprendessem é como podemos continuar tendo benefícios para ter uma boa situação para o meio ambiente. E nós podemos começar a evitar o uso de plástico, a coletar o seu lixo quando vai à praia e a dar uma outra origem a ele. Utilizar menos o carro, não utilizar sacolas e canudos plásticos, evitar a compra de coisas desnecessárias, fazer a coleta seletiva e praticar os 5 R's: reduzir, reciclar, reutilizar, repensar e recusar. Pode passar. Para concluir, vemos que a situação pode melhorar, porém ela não depende só de você ou de mim. Precisamos que todos ajudem para termos um futuro melhor, um futuro em que não precisaremos nos preocupar com isso, onde todos terão água, recursos naturais para produzir as coisas e que os animais não serão extintos. E por isso, escolhi este tema. Quero conscientizar pessoas sobre o risco que futuras gerações podem passar. Não consigo nem imaginar pessoas que irão viver batalhando por um copo d'água. Mas se quiserem reverter isso, pensem em suas atitudes no dia a dia. Elas já podem fazer uma grande diferença. E por fim, gostaria de agradecer a Mr. Rega, que nos guiou a produzir esse trabalho, a Mr. Felipe, que está ajudando na live, e aos meus colegas que compartilharam ideias nas aulas. Mas, mesmo assim, fico me questionando. Será que mesmo depois de todo esse pensamento, ainda vamos precisar de uma outra pandemia para cuidarmos do nosso planeta? E é isso. Pode passar, que o próximo slide é sobre as referências que eu utilizei para fazer a pesquisa. Aí embaixo estão todos os links que eu utilizei para fazer a pesquisa. E também eu fiz um Google Forms para meus amigos compartilharem algumas ações que eles fazem para ajudar o meio ambiente. E é isso. Muito obrigado. E finalizei. You're muted, Mr. Rega.
Thank you, Gabriel. I'm sorry we couldn't see you, but obviously we could hear you. That was a podcast. That was a podcast more than a video, but it was pretty cool.
Sure.
Great
Thank
job,
you, Gabriel.
Thank you very much.
Go ahead, Felipe.
Okay, thanks.
As you will notice, people who are watching the event right now live through the YouTube channel of our Lance School, all of the students who are participating, they make sure that they talk about the references, the list of references they have at the end of their slides. This is because when you do research, when you're an inquirer, as our school insists, they should be, the references have to be there for people to check. I mean, everything Gabriel said there, that is the product of his research, you can trace it back to the links he used. So when you are checking somebody's book, pay attention to the list of references at the end. Maybe you find information that can be useful for future research. And like Morena, Katarina, and Gabriel insisted, and all of the people who worked on lectures, the references are as important as the final product itself. In fact, they are the pillars on which the whole research is standing. Thank you, Gabriel, Morena, and Katarina, but we haven't finished. We still have a couple of other lecturers right now. Felipe, do we have Maria Luisa there?
Mr. Rega, one of the things I was talking with Sebastian this morning is how great was the skill they are developing about how to use data in a speech or in a lecture, or in all the different activities we suggest them to do it. So I think that was one of the positive sides of this week, the preparation for the LAN Talks, is the way students are getting better in presenting their data and using like as an argument and things like this. What is your feeling about this?
There is this fear, Felipe, among students that when they find information that is online, that if they use it, somehow their production is not going to be as good as if it were their own production. This fear of originality. actually research depends on what was there previously. We know what we know today because somebody researched about it before, and research stands on top of someone else's previous research. So don't feel afraid if you find useful information online that comes handy for geography, Portuguese, English, bring it down, post it on your research, but obviously at the end, reference list is very important. I'm sure these students who are doing the lectures today and the ones who participated Monday, next time they have to face a research, they know how rigorous it's going to be. Okay, I found this article, I copied the link, I pasted here, and I call it reference list. So I think students are getting every time more conscious of the importance of this responsibility of using information that comes online. Okay, it's there for all of us to enjoy, but it's also our responsibility to give credit to the person who produced previous knowledge for us to develop further knowledge. That's the way I see it.
Who's next one?
We have Maria Luisa. Maria Luisa, you there?
Yeah.
Hey, there she is. Are you nervous? Relax, as I always tell you. Relax. Maria Luisa is going to talk to us again about education, how it has been affected during the pandemic. As I said, we had 5 strands to research about. We have already listened to education from Morena. We heard about children and adolescents from Katerina, the environment from Gabriel. Now, Maria Luisa is going to take us back to how education has been affected, but she took a wider perspective. Her approach is open to a global view, and she's speaking in English. So, Maria Luisa, when you're ready, go ahead and break a leg. The stage is yours.
Okay. So today I'm here because I wanted to talk about education during the new COVID-19 pandemic. And it includes online classes, school adaptations, social impacts, and concerns about the future post-pandemic education. You can pass. So here is the outline that I put in all the topics that I'm going to talk about. You can pass again. Okay. The first cases of COVID-19 were reported in China in December 2019, and the virus quickly spread to various parts of the world. On March 11 of this year, the World Health Organization declared the classification of contamination as a pandemic, causing several countries to adopt policies of social isolation and city lockdown, affecting several sectors, among them education. You can pass again. According to UNESCO, most governments around the world have temporarily closed educational institutions in an attempt to contain the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. According to the information available on its website, on 22 of 2020, only with the partial closure of schools in China and Mongolia, 999,140 students were affected, which corresponded to a total of 0.1% of students enrolled in social and schools worldwide. You can pass. In early April, at the height of school closings, this number reached almost 1.6 billion students, corresponding to a total of approximately 85% of the total enrolled students. You can pass again. In the most recent data available on the UNESCO website, it is estimated that currently around 560 students continue to be affected by the closure of schools. That is approximately 32% of the total number of students. According to the UN, the COVID-19 pandemic created the biggest disruption in educational systems in history, affecting almost 1.6 billion students in more than 190 countries and on all continents. The real impact on education in Brazil began in March 2020, when schools were closed indefinitely. According to the Organization of Economic Cooperation and Development, Brazil is among the countries that closed schools the longest. To date, many Brazilian schools are still closed, as is as is the case with Bahrain schools that have not yet been authorized by the state and municipal government to return to face-to-face class. You can pass. In countries like Brazil, where there is enormous social inequality, the problems with education are even more aggravated. There is a concern that this inequality will increase further. Private school students were not severely affected because schools quickly adapted to online classes, and most students have access to the internet. However, for public school students, the difficulties are greater, since some schools were unable to offer classes online or students do not have a computer, smartphone, or internet. The World Health Organization warned that in addition to the damage of learning, the closure of schools also raises other concerns, such as the lack of adequate food for children and adolescents, especially in the poorest countries, as many depend on meals offered by educational institutions. In addition, the risk of exposure of the students and adolescents to domestic violence and child labor increases. Another concern of NHS and authorities is that school dropout, which was already high, is not increasing even more with the pandemic. It is estimated that disruptions caused by COVID-19 every day mean that up to 40 million children worldwide have lost early childhood education in their critical per-school year. Thus, they lost a stimulation in enriching environment, learning opportunities, social interaction, and in some cases, adequate nutrition. You can pass again. The United Nations says that to prevent a learning crisis from turning into a generation catastrophe, urgent action by all is needed. Education is not just a fundamental right, it is an enabling right with a direct impact of the realization of all other human rights. If before the pandemic they were already faced a great challenge to fulfill the promise of education as a basic human right, now this is even more difficult, especially in low and middle income countries. UNESCO is supporting countries in their efforts to mitigate the immediate impact of school closures, especially for the most vulnerable and disadvantaged communities, and to facilitate continuing education for all through remote learning. Here in Brazil, initiatives like the Roberto Marinho Foundation have also developed free educational content and service supporting teachers, managers, students, and families. Concerned about school dropout, Globo and Fundação Roberto Marinho, in partnership with UNICEF, recently launched the Tamo Junto Sempre campaign seeking to encourage students not to give up studying during the pandemic. You can pass again. From a student financing perspective, the challenge was already daunting before COVID-19. The early 2020 estimate of the funding gap to achieve the Sustainable Development Goal, quality education, in low and lower middle income countries was an astounding $148 billion annually. It is estimated that COVID-19 will increase this funding gap by up to a third. It is estimated that about 23.8 million children and young people from pre-primary to higher education may drop out or not have access to school in the next year due solely to the economic impact of the pandemic. As fiscal pressures increase and development assistance comes under pressure, funding for education can also face major challenges. In this regard, UNESCO held a virtual meeting on 2022-20 in partnership with the governments of Ghana, Norway, and the United Kingdom, with the aim of revitalizing world education, ensuring the commitment of world leaders to protect the financing of education for the next year and define priority actions. This action seeks ways what the advance made in the world education is in recent years will not suffer a setback. You can pass. The COVID-19 crisis and unparalleled educational disruption are far from over. Some 100 countries have yet to announce a date for the reopening of schools and across the world. Governments, unions, parents, and children are struggling to know when and how to approach the next phase. Countries have started planning to reopen schools across the country. either based on educational level and prioritizing exam classes, or through vaccines located in regions with fewer cases of the virus. However, given the virus' continued virulence, most countries surveyed in May to June 2020 had not yet decided on a reopening date. In order to return to the classroom, several measures need to be taken. Recently, WHO, in partnership with UNESCO and UNICEF, published guidelines for measures for a safer reopening of schools. In addition to basic preventive measures, such as washing your hands constantly, respecting respiratory etiquette, and avoiding kisses and hugs, the school needs to be aware of other precautions. You can pass. An important action is to observe whether students have any symptoms similar to the new coronavirus. If so, you need to stay at home in isolation, says infectologist Jamal Suleiman from the Emílio Ribas Institute of Infectiology in São Paulo. It is also important to always clean the spaces used by students, such as tables, chairs, and personal items for food. The school can also guide students in the use of their own water bottle, avoiding the use of the collective drinking fountain. According to Scientific American, researchers have come together as never before and are working on several fronts to develop drugs. If any of the several antiviral drugs currently in development prove to be effective, they will improve treatment options and decrease the number of serious will or join people. A technique to screen for neutralizing SARS-CoV-2 antibodies, an indicator of immunity in recovered patients, can also be very useful. Kramer and his colleagues developed one of these tests, and there are others. Previously used only in local epidemics, these new serological tests will not end the pandemic, but may make it possible to detect and use antibody-rich blood as a treatment for critical ill patients. Most certainly, the tests will also get people back to work more quickly if those who have found the virus and are immune can be identified. A vaccine will be needed to stop transmission. This will take time, probably a year from now. Still, there is no reason to think that a vaccine could work efficiently. While we wait to the emergence of an effective vaccine and that it will be made available to the entire population, we need to continue taking all necessary precautions to avoid new waves of contamination and postpone the return of the classes in person. We must remember that although we students from private schools, are not being very affected in learning, students from the public network are suffering great losses. If classes come back before mass vaccination, wear a mask, always wash your hands with soap or use alcohol, don't put your hands over your eyes, mouth, and nose, avoid crowds, and stay safe. You can pass. Here I put the reference list with all the sites that I picked, my information, and you can pass. And here is what I put. Thank you.
Thank you, Malu.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Maria Luisa.
Amazing job.
That special slide that she put at the end, I said, "Oh, that's your touch." I'm gonna leave it there because usually you don't have that after the reference list, but it's Maria Luisa's personal touch. That was really good, Maria Luisa. Excellent. Thank you very much. It's amazing, guys. Let me insist. They begin with an idea of what the slides should be, overloaded with information, and then you tell them, no, the slide is a visual aid. Bring images, bring infographics, and only the second turn they already have these wonderful slides prepared with all the information they had. They just didn't know how to distribute it on the slides. So thank you, Malu, for following the instructions. You presented one thing, and then when the teacher makes comments, you may get depressed. Oh, no, come on, I'm not gonna do it. But they came back, teacher, take a look at the second version. And this is already the second version. So she only went through 2 different versions. What is the repercussion of a girl like Malu, who is in grade 6, speaking about school dropout, speaking about decisions to return to school, this is usually conversation that parents do. Here we have students from Land School researching about and talking about issues that are related to their own education. So our school is giving them this independence to research and talk about school, their area of their world right now. Felipe, I don't know if you want to say something there.
Yeah, that was one of the ideas of this academic week, right? To give voice to them, not only to develop skills about how to present or how to deliver a speech, but also how to build an argument and how to put your own spice in the presentations, right?
Hello, guys. I want to add in something. I've watched the presentations, and I have to say that I'm really proud of all the student body, and especially the ones who dedicated several hours to be prepared. And you were saying that they worked autonomously, that they were by themselves, preparing and listening to the feedback and selecting the sources and coming back to you with their work. And this is exactly what happened with the debate as well. And with the other ones, with the TED Talks. So they were there preparing and working with and having all the other demands from the other subjects. So this is really important for us to emphasize that they were here and they had this extra work and they did great. And
exactly.
They exposed their arguments and their ideas in English and in Portuguese, and they made us proud. And they have been working from home and having virtual classes for the past 7 months. And we are getting to the end of the year, and they still had the energy to deliver great work. And I'm really, really proud. And tomorrow we're gonna end up our academic week for Land Talks with the debate. And we're gonna have the teachers there. You're not gonna be there, Rager, but I have to. No, but you worked really hard. You had your demands as well, and I wanna congratulate you as a teacher and as a member of this learning community for your dedication to the kids and to the school. And thank you for all that you do for us.
Thank you.
Your students did a great job also because of you. So thank you a lot, Felipe. Thank you for coming here every day after class and host the event for us and having all the technology ready, and also helping us, the teachers and the coaches, to do their jobs and calibrate their rubrics. And Felipe is always there for us. So it's important for us to thank him as well. And thank you guys for being here.
All right. Thank you, Isis. It's my pleasure, to work with students.
Your mic is off.
Oh, it's mine? No.
No, Felipe.
So we still have 2 more to present.
Okay, I have to go, but I wanted to say that. Beijo.
People, stay tuned because we still have 2 more to present. I think next one is Vitor, right? Vitor Ribeiro.
Yes. So Vitor Ribeiro from grade 8. Right now we had listened to Hey Vitor. How are you?
Hey Rager.
Ready for rock and roll?
Hi.
This is what I always tell you in class. Ready for rock and roll? So far, we have listened to participants. I like to call them lecturers because that's who they are. They did the research. They prepared the text. They put together their slides and they present them to you. So yes, they are lecturers. The previous 4 were lecturers from grade 6. Vitor is from grade 8. So we are expecting perhaps development in his speech that goes according to the grade in which he is. He's going to be talking to us about international relations and how they have been affected by this pandemic. He'll be doing this in Portuguese. Peter, the stage is yours. Go for it.
Boa tarde, primeiramente. Sou Vitor Prazeres Ribeiro, e o tema hoje que será abordado serão as relações internacionais e diplomáticas durante a pandemia. A crise mundial da pandemia do novo coronavírus mudou a visão do mundo em diversos tópicos, envolvendo saúde, educação, segurança, entre outros. Antes da pandemia, as conexões entre os países ao redor do mundo predominavam. E após a crise sanitária, a globalização sofreu um grande baque, e os países passaram a prestar mais atenção em parceiros próximos às suas fronteiras. Aí vocês podem ver como minha apresentação se estruturar. Pode passar. Desculpa, Felipe, eu não estou conseguindo ver sua tela. Eu não sei o que slide você está apresentando. Ah, sim. Eu já pode passar. A Europa. A União Europeia se notabilizou pelos avanços no sentido de integrar países e facilitar o intercâmbio entre nações. Durante a pandemia, houve o primeiro fechamento da área Schengen, a área dentro da União Europeia, onde é permitido cruzar fronteiras sem nenhuma burocracia. O fechamento das fronteiras na Europa aconteceu pelo medo da propagação do Covid e levou à felicidade de diversos governos e simpatizantes de grupos nacionalistas, que só crescem em popularidade no velho continente. Por outro lado, pode passar. Por outro lado, disputas foram resolvidas, pela necessidade crescente de formar aliados políticos. O maior exemplo talvez seja a Sérvia. O país eslávico vem passando por uma grande crise dentro da pandemia e precisou procurar aliados em sua região. Então normalizou relações econômicas com Kosovo, uma nação antes pertencente a seu país. E buscando superar os efeitos da crise, a Sérvia, hoje trata Kosovo economicamente quanto outro país, mesmo que não politicamente. Kosovo declarou sua independência em 2007, mas até hoje não tem um reconhecimento pleno de sua autonomia política. Essa vitória diplomática de Kosovo levou o país a mais um passo importante de conseguir sua independência por completo. Oceania, pode passar. Oceania. O medo do Covid e a preocupação com a prevenção para que não se espalhe não está presente em apenas regiões continentais, como América do Sul, Europa, Ásia. Mas, na Oceania, vemos os únicos 10 países sem casos registrados e o maior número de nações sem casos. Então não seria o lugar mais tranquilo para estar durante essa pandemia. O isolamento geográfico natural e a organização das ilhas que formam o continente foram fatores importantes para a não disseminação do vírus. E assim, muitos cidadãos vivem sua vida normalmente, principalmente em países mais desenvolvidos nessa área, como a Nova Zelândia, Fiji e até mesmo a Austrália. Pode passar. África. A África é o continente com o maior crescimento populacional e econômico, em termos relativos, pois o PIB das nações africanas crescem de 3.000 a 5.000% por cada ano, a cada década, na verdade. Nos últimos tempos, a África tem regiões que vêm se industrializando muito e chamando a atenção do resto do mundo. Por outro lado, a maior parte de seus países tem estruturas frágeis, o que teoricamente torna seus países alvos fáceis de crises mundiais, principalmente econômicas e sanitárias, como é o fato do Covid. Mas, felizmente, grande parte das nações conseguiram diminuir o impacto gigante antes previsto, decorrente da disseminação do coronavírus. A previsão para os casos de Covid eram assustadoras, batendo quase 800 milhões de casos. Por ser um continente com infraestrutura fraca e carente de recursos básicos de saúde, se esperava superlotação nos hospitais e um número expressivo de mortes. Porém, contrariando o esperado, a situação no continente não parece ter sido tão alarmante. Não houve crescimento exponencial da doença como visto em outros continentes. De regra geral, a África mantém um platô desde o início dos casos, com alguns pequenos picos. Covid gerou uma crise sanitária tão grande que acabamos esquecendo de outras que impactam regiões a longa data, como o Ebola. que apresenta mais um novo surto na República Democrática do Congo, ou RDC, para ser mais rápido, onde há mais de 300 casos registrados nos últimos meses e mais de 130 mortos foram relatados pelo governo durante a 11ª epidemia de ebola no Congo. Infelizmente, toda a preocupação vai para o Covid hoje, mas também temos que prestar atenção em problemas a longa data. Felipe, desculpa, eu esqueci de te pedir para passar. Pode ir passando, eu tô em muitos slides na frente. Aí eu já falei. Pode passar. Aí, eu tô aí. Só que pode passar. Isso. A África é o continente que mais cresce sua população. Então temos muito para discutir sobre seus países. A novidade é que durante a pandemia pode haver um novo componente ao grupo. Togolândia Ocidental, ou Western Togoland. Trata-se de uma área da República de Gana, o país que relativamente é o melhor país da África hoje em dia, que declarou sua independência da República de Gana. A Western Togoland declarou sua independência em 1º de setembro de 2020, pois são de contexto étnico togolês, que Togo é um país em sua fronteira, mas diferentemente de Togo, esse grupo foi colonizado por alemães e não britânicos, o que leva esse nichado grupo a buscar a independência. Pode passar. Ásia. A China é decididamente o país que está no centro de toda a crise do Covid-19. A Covid surgiu oficialmente... Peraí, desculpa, eu perdi aqui. A Covid surgiu oficialmente no dia 31 de dezembro de 2019, na virada do ano, na cidade chinesa de Wuhan, onde os casos cresceram rapidamente e se espalharam para o resto da China. Apenas no dia 26 de março de 2020, a China fechou todas as áreas para o resto, todas as conexões aéreas para o resto do mundo, mesmo que já tenham tido grandes epidemias em grandes cidades como Wuhan, Beijing e Xangai. Por outro lado, bastaram apenas 2 meses de existência do Covid com aeroportos chineses para que a doença se espalhasse ao redor do mundo e que chegasse ao título de pandemia, com disseminações na Europa, principalmente na Itália e Espanha, na primeira fase. Pode passar. Felipe, desculpa, eu pedi para passar, não era para passar. Eu tô confusão. A reação do mundo foi tardia e sem devido pecado, com governos e organizações que deveriam servir ao povo perdendo o controle, aplicando medidas erradas e, no geral, falhando em controlar a propagação do Covid ao redor do mundo. A maior das falhas seria da OMS, não por própria culpa, e sim pelo modo que foi criada. A OMS foi desenvolvida para que não tenha autonomia de coordenação de suas ações, independentemente, e sim deve perguntar e pedir informações ao governo do país onde estão atuando. Ou seja, eles podem trabalhar, só que na hora de publicação de informações, eles precisam perguntar ao governo que eles estão agindo. Nesse caso foi a China, que é um governo autoritário que vai fazer de tudo para ganhar mais dinheiro e controle de sua população. A falta de clareza nas informações da origem do vírus foi um fator decisivo para a expansão dele. O controle do regime chinês sobre as informações para o resto do mundo certamente prejudicou a adoção de medidas preventivas para deter a disseminação do vírus. Pode passar. Se tratando do regime político chinês, é importante citar que a China tenta espalhar sua influência ao redor do mundo há muito tempo. E trata-se de um regime de força que ameaça a liberdade individuais de forma agressiva há muito tempo. O maior exemplo da conduta política chinesa é a relação recente com Hong Kong. A China recebeu Hong Kong de volta dos britânicos em 1999, após a região ser colonizada pelos britânicos e ser feita um centro de comércio em toda a Ásia. Hong Kong sofreu com o governo chinês, pois impuseram a Lei de Segurança Nacional de Hong Kong, uma lei que proíbe a liberdade digital de hongkongueses, uma cidade politicamente e economicamente conectada com o mundo ocidental, mesmo que seja parte da China. É importante ressaltar, como eu já disse antes, que Hong Kong é uma cidade britânica, mas devolvida à China parcialmente. Então, Hong Kong não é um país independente, não é parte do Império, não é parte da Inglaterra, e também não é parte da China completamente. É uma região um pouco louca no sentido político. Para que o território mantesse sua identidade distinta entre Ásia, Europa e Américas, o governo chinês a trata de forma diferente, e não como mais uma de suas metrópoles. O problema de Hong Kong para o governo de Xi Jinping é que os chineses proíbem o acesso de sites ao resto do mundo. Porém, quem vive em Hong Kong tem livre acesso a eles, visto que Hong Kong tem independência política e econômica do governo central de Beijing, sendo uma facilidade para que chineses que vivem em Xangai, Beijing, Wuhan, viajem para Hong Kong e acessem a internet. O problema agora é que a Lei Nacional de Segurança de Hong Kong quer proibir pessoas que nascem em Hong Kong de utilizar a internet, o que seria uma confronta à liberdade econômica e política de Hong Kong. A Lei de Segurança Nacional de Hong Kong levou a protestos por independência de Hong Kong na cidade e fora da China e ao redor do mundo. Muitos evadindo para o Canadá, Estados Unidos e Reino Unido. A onda de imigrantes de Hong Kong foram de 215.750 nos últimos 10 meses. Américas. Nas Américas, temos os principais países do mundo, como o principal país do mundo, Estados Unidos, e países emergentes com grande interesse mundial, como Brasil e México, países que veem um crescimento absurdo econômico e político. Os Estados Unidos têm grande influência mundial e sempre se posiciona, muitas vezes de forma questionável, em conflitos mundiais, sempre querendo intervenções militares para tirar ditadores ou aplicar democracia em muitos países. Na América Latina, temos um ambiente que por muitas vezes tem uma instabilidade. Então, os Estados Unidos e grandes potências ocidentais tentam entrar no nosso ambiente político. Os Estados Unidos hoje... Pode passar. Tá ótimo, na verdade. Eu não tô prestando atenção no slide, desculpa. Os Estados Unidos hoje vivem um período de incertezas, com sua vaga de superpoder de um mundo unipolar sendo ameaçada pela China e União Europeia. Então, a próxima eleição de presidente, ainda em 2020, pode mudar o futuro do mundo no geral. Se o governo de Trump for eleito, os Estados Unidos reforçarão sua vista nacionalista e conservadora, como aconteceu nos últimos 4 anos. Mas, se Biden ganhar, os Estados Unidos provavelmente se abrirão, tentando se relacionar com rivais, como os chineses. Porém, com sérios riscos à economia e o poder americano na cena mundial. Trump aprofundou as críticas ao governo chinês durante a pandemia, bastando dizer que ele refere ao Covid como China Virus. A atuação do governo americano no combate ao Covid foi bastante controversa, assim como no Brasil. E esses países são mais afetados pelos vírus nas Américas, o que pode pesar na eleição aqui do Brasil nesse ano e nos Estados Unidos e no futuro do mundo em geral. Pode passar. Conclusão. A pandemia tensiona as relações entre países e exacerbou sentimentos nacionalistas e até xenofóbicos. Em defesa da saúde de populações, fronteiras foram fechadas, bem como o tráfego aéreo interrompido. Talvez a busca por uma vacina possa amenizar relações e provocar mais solidariedade entre os povos. Mas isso só veremos no futuro. Obrigado.
Thank you, Victor. Thank you for sharing your research with us, with the whole land community.
Eu esqueci de... Tem as referências atrás.
Yes. Very important.
Yeah. Almost forgot.
Sure.
Yeah, there is.
There you are. Thank you, Victor. You may say no rigorous paranoia about this, but guys, this is very, very important when you do research. It's important to demystify the idea that only what comes originally from your mind is worth. Actually, everything that comes from your mind is the result of previous learning. So everything involves previous learning and previous knowledge. And by researching, what you do is strengthen them with the information that other people provided to you. Thank you, Victor. As you can see, Victor sounded, like an international specialist, just like Pedro Enrique gave us on Monday the feeling. We were listening to an economist. 8th graders of our NYP school can already have this depth in their analysis of whatever the topic they choose to work with. So this is what we want for a school. Okay, this is the profile of a student who is an inquirer, who is knowledgeable, who thinks everything before they speak about it, and who backs up with research their comments and their production. Obviously, Felipe, you want to say something? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say this. They are also risk takers, right? Because it's not easy to present in a live with teachers and the whole school community watching. So I have to give like extra credits to every single one who had the courage to present live during the week. Okay.
And with this self-control, right?
Oh,
because
yeah.
you could panic right away.
Great. We have our last one, the last, last but not least, our lovely Maria Fernanda. Let me put her on the screen.
For Maria Fernanda, I mean, Maria Fernanda has for us hey, Maria Fernanda, good afternoon. She has for us perhaps one of the most scientific lectures, because she's going to be dealing with vaccination. Again, I insist, these are students from the middle years program 1, 2, and 3 doing research at this level. Okay, she's going to be talking to us about the different choices of vaccination available in the market right now. And I just don't want to bring anything forward, Maria Fernanda. Leave it all to you. Go ahead and break a leg. The stage is yours.
So today I'll talk about COVID-19 progress in treatment. You can pass. This is my outline, the topics that I will talk about. So, what COVID-19 is? COVID-19 is an infectious disease caused by a recent discovered virus of SARS-CoV-2. It was discovered in Wuhan, a Chinese city. According to Ministério da Saúde, the virus came to Brazil in January 2020. Until September, 146,352 deaths were registered in Brazil and 1,038,423 in the world. According to the WHO, COVID-19 is a syndemic because it is a pandemic associated with chronic disease and social origins. You can pass. So we can prevent COVID-19. We don't have a specific treatment for COVID-19, but they are already being investigated and tested through medical studies, such as chloroquine, ivermectin, vitamins D, C, and zinc. To prevent it, you can use masks and social distance. Here I put some photos, and the photo below shows the 4 COVID-19 personality types: who believes in science, who doesn't understand science, who believes in magic, and who denies science. We can prevent COVID-19 part 2. The COVID-19 tested avoid the dissemination of coronavirus. So I put 2 Portuguese images below. The first one talk about the 3 principal symptoms of COVID-19. There are febre, tosse, and falta de ar. In the next image shows the test of COVID-19. You can pass. COVID-19 has a cure. In these slides, I will show you the vaccines of COVID-19 that are more advanced. There is a lot of research regarding the vaccines against COVID-19, but few of them are advanced to commercialism. The first one, vaccine COVID-19 from Oxford in Fiocruz, rolled submission Anvisa. The second one, vaccine COVID-19 Sputnik 5, that is from Russia, and it will be tested on Venezuela, Brazil, and Mexico. And it is on phase 3. The third one, is a vaccine of COVID-19, Coronavac of China. Butantan Institute is in Brazil will produce this vaccine. So we already are in the conclusion, and in this context, we need to take COVID-19 seriously, take care of ourselves. It is a great opportunity for the government leaders to reframe a political and public practice to obtain a better social justice. So here in this image, I put a New York Times photo that is of COVID-19 vaccines in human trials that shows the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, and approved. Okay. So here is the reference list, and I hope you like my slides. Thank you for everyone who watched.
Thank you very much, Maria Fernanda. Excellent. I mean, I was just watching the news at noon, and they were talking about vaccine, exactly what Maria Fernanda brought to us in English, all right? So you see how these students are up to date and talking about current issues with property, with research, and with this curiosity that permeates all of students in land. Go ahead, Felipe.
Great job, Nandinha. I love it. And as Mr. Rega said, you're talking about current news. That's exactly what we debating in office water fountains and in the internet and all this. Good job, my love. I love it.
Thank you, Maria Fernanda, for sharing it with us. Go ahead.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Well, Felipe, I had a great team. I mean, these students got involved from the very beginning. They showed me their slides. They changed what I told them to change. I said, research more, go further. And the final product is what you see there. I want to thank Land for the opportunity to do this kind of work, which is extracurricular. It's not happening in the classroom, but it will definitely have good results in the classroom. You will see your students adding references all the time. Oh, as the United Nations say, and this exactly what they're doing now will have repercussions in their production in the future, I guarantee. Not only on the ones who presented, but also in the audience. The people watching the videos would say like, wow, can we do that? Yes, you can.
Exactly. So I want to thank you, my friend, for the amazing job leading these students on the road of lectures and keynote speeches. And we know in the future, some of them will be real keynote speakers in big events around the globe. I have no doubt about it. And I want to invite everyone that is watching us for tomorrow. The finals of the debate will happen tomorrow morning, and will be the last event of our first Land Talks week, because it was a huge success. So we want to repeat this in years to come. Okay, so thank you again, my friend. Thank to everybody that was watching us. Don't forget to subscribe in our channel and hit like if you enjoy it. Okay?
Land Community Rules. Go ahead. Land Talks.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.